Welcome to the Garth Riley Show. Good to have you with us. We are talking tonight about the family court issues, continuation of other topics we've done on the same matter. Here's the issue. When you're common law, what does that mean for you? Well, a couple of years ago, the laws did change here in Ontario, and now you could be up the creek if you don't have it all in writing. My guest today, we'll just call her by her first name, Karie, joins us, tells us a bit of her story, and we're going to start off and break it into small segments. And initially, we're going to talk about the idea of being common law and what that meant to what you could get out of this. I don't know if get out of what you're entitled to, I guess, more importantly, is not what you thought it was, right, Karie?
No, I was actually under the impression that being common law, especially for the amount of time that I was common law from the time I was 18 years old until 36, so 18 years, my entire adult life, until I separated 2 years ago. And during that time, I just assumed it was the same as marriage. But when we split up, I found out that if you are common law, what is yours, what is in your name belongs to you, and what is not in your name belongs to the other person. So everything that we owned was in my ex's name. So even the house that we lived in and raised our children in, because he was on title and I wasn't, he has the right in a common law relationship to kick me out of my home or his home, because they actually consider you a house guest, an 18-year house guest, raising 3 children. And
helping participate in the business.
I actually ran a daycare out of my house for several years. I helped him build his business. I ran around and did everything I was told to do for 18 years. And when I left, it was like, well, I made the money, so it's mine, because you stayed home. And he even claims in court that he worked 80 to 100-hour weeks when he started up his business, which means who was doing everything else? Who was taking care of the house and the kids and the yard and driving everybody everywhere and doing the grocery shopping? 80 to 100 hours a week. The judges have actually said to him, well, that means she did more than the average housewife. That means she did more than people should have to if she had 3 little children for 80 to 100 hours a week by herself.
In this case here, you so the first part of the message here is about being, a common law, and now you've found 2 years into this, and finding that are the courts helping you, not helping you, in this case because of this common law switcheroo that happened a couple years ago?
The issue with the courts is that if you learn how to play the system and drag it out, it can take forever. And the man that I was with has decided that he doesn't want to cooperate with the courts, and he doesn't want to do what he's asked. And they seem to have no way of enforcing anything. Like an endorsement is an order by a judge. I have had several endorsements made stating that this man is to give me a certain amount of child support, to give me certain disclosures, and he just ignores the endorsements. And every time he ignores it, we go back to court and another judge gives another endorsement, but he never gets penalized and he never gets punished.
And that's contradictory to some of the things that I've heard on the show already, because we had another person here that had boxes full of court documents saying that he was basically being raked over the coals, that she was being, wasn't allowing him access to the kids. That was one of the major things that they were fighting over, and that it cost him his house, cost him his business, cost him everything, and the courts were just basically impugning income on him, and because he was self-employed starting up another business, and all of a sudden he was left with nothing. So your story is a little different.
Yes, and my ex is trying to show that he makes no money because he also owns his own business. But as I lived there for 18 years, I know that his business is very lucrative. And he's actually shown his taxes to the courts to try and show that he makes $38,000 a year taxable income, when the gross income on those taxes is over $250,000, and he works out of his home, and it's a service company. So it doesn't make any sense.
Plus, there's issues of assets. We're going to come back in a moment. We're going to come back with Karie's story, one person's story about what it's like to be in the courts. We'll come back and talk about assets. We'll talk about the family responsibility office and how they've actually not really been responsible in your case. They've been trying to do it, but I guess there isn't much teeth there. So we've heard two different stories here compared to what we've had before, where the FRO was this guy's nemesis. In this case, the FRO looks like they don't have any teeth to bite into it. We'll be right back with more of the story.